Thank you for taking your time to come in and do this PD with me. Before we start and get into the good stuff, why don't we take a chance to know each other and break the ice? So go ahead and share one personal accomplishment from your life, one school-related accomplishment, and one thing you love about teaching.
Okay, so one personal accomplishment in my life is, actually I'll do a school-related accomplishment. I was able to finish my DLI program so that I could get certified to teach in the dual language program, so that was cool. And I love teaching because I see the bright faces and how much they learn at the end of the year. It's kind of cool.
One accomplishment I have is that I have my admin credential, but at this time I don't want to use it. And I finished my master's. And a school-related accomplishment, all of my students are now at least the second half of first grade for their works. They've passed all their tests. And one thing I love about teaching is just very similar to yours. They're so excited and they love to be here and love to learn.
One school-related accomplishment was when I was giving the fluency test this week. I realized that probably 98% of my students were able to answer all of the comprehension questions. So that was an accomplishment. We were working really hard on that. And one thing I love about teaching is when I see the light bulb go on with the students.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so in this PowerPoint or professional development, we're going to focus on reading intervention strategies. Our norms are to be respectful, collaborate, and be open to new ideas. Our objective is how can we help further support non-readers? Let us take a moment and discuss these questions with our grade level teams. Many of us have stated that a student cannot read. At each grade level, TK through 3, there are standards that students should be meeting. For example, if she or he cannot, has much more difficult time than other students in pronouncing or rhyming words, what are we going to do for that student? So the question still stands for each grade level. Are we able to identify when a child is struggling? Are we identifying and providing the needed intervention? So go ahead and take a moment and discuss these questions.
You should intervene in every grade level. Right? There should be intervention at every grade level.
I think there should be, you begin intervening when you see that the child is unable to make progress, I think, in a standard.
Yes.
I think with the younger grades, it's easier to see where they're struggling with reading, whether it be letter sounds, segmenting or blending. I think when the kids get a little bit older, it's harder to identify that because they're expected to already be reading and comprehending what they're reading.
But like this year, with the group that I work, even though the other kids in intervention are receiving help at the level where they're at, like long vowels, the kids I work with are working with letter sound segmenting blending because we want to keep that progress going, even though they're getting both things taught to them, but we want to make sure that they have that solid foundation because they can't go on.
Okay, so I see, okay, very good point. So do you guys have systems in place to provide intervention?
I think our grade levels worked really hard with trying to catch those students who are starting to fall behind, and our curriculum at this point in time has sources we can use, especially the tier 2 level, to catch those kids and bring them up to where they need to be.
So I'm aware that you guys have new curriculum and tier 2 intervention. So I'm not here to replace that. I'm just providing some supplemental information that we can use alongside with that. So things to look for to make sure we're identifying students correctly. Are they having difficulty rhyming? Are they hearing individual sounds? Are they having difficulty following directions, retelling a story, struggling to sound out most words, or avoids reading aloud. Strategies. Begin with phonemic awareness. Use visuals to connect letters to sound connection. Begin with initial sound identification and then progress to middle and final sound. Segment sounds with Elcon boxes. Word building with letters and pocket charts. Playing with sounds such as stretching and shortening. Starting with 2 sounds and then progressing slowly to 3, 4, and 5 sounds. Depending on what level of intervention is needed here, some strategies can be implemented. You guys will identify when to implement these strategies. It'd be best to work in small groups so you can meet their instructional need at their level. Here's an example for a plan of action so you can begin to collaborate and think of where are you going to meet your students, how are you going to spread out your groups. So let's take a moment and let's look at how you're going to plan your plan of action. And I'll provide pencils and paper. You guys can do a quick sketch of what you think you want to do with your team. So, are you available to meet with your team, your students 5 days a week? Are you setting up an objective for your students? What will be your objective for the week? Plan out what you're going to be working on. Address current levels and needs, and to hold ourselves accountable and have fidelity among the team. We should be making notes of that student, sharing our notes between each other, that way we can hold each other accountable. So, go ahead and just do a quick sketch of a small group calendar and see if you can come up with an objective for next week. What would you be working on? How are you going to plan it out? I'll go ahead and give you a few minutes to do that.
So we start with the standard, right?
Yes, that would be your objective. What is your objective?
So should we just do like
Pairs.
If we did vowel pairs, we would work on RF 2.3.
okay. And we'll work on it during our intervention block. Okay, so that would be from 8:50 to 9:45. And maybe we could create some kind of like short diagnostic or something that we could do on the specific, like test our class and then see which ones are the kids that are lacking in that standard. That way we know who to target.
Yes.
Okay. So a diagnostic test. So once we do that, and we're going to, where will we start if it's gonna be, what did you say, vowel pairs? We're gonna do vowel
Right.
pairs. Okay, so what would our objective be? Students will identify.
Students will correctly read.
Read vowel pairs in isolation and single sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vowel pairs in isolation and in simple sentences. So according to what we have, when we do our diagnostic, then we know how many groups we're gonna have. Right?
So that's a kind of note for me to take is that we need to first know how many groups we're going to have.
But what would be, once we get to the point where we create our small groups, we've already tested them, we create our small groups, so what would be some things that, is it what each group is going to do?
Yes, so it's going to be like rotation. I plan to do a rotation so you can meet with group 1 on day 1. And are you meeting with group 2 on that same day? So no X. Yes, you're meeting with group 3. So how many times are you identifying that you're going to meet with, say only group 1 is your struggling readers. So maybe you'll meet with this group 3 times a week,
Oh,
and maybe 1 time a week with the other groups,
okay.
depending on their needs.
And basically we want them to be able to do this during our intervention block, but we could also do it during our regular core time when the other kids are doing other things.
Yes, our focus is during our intervention block, but if you see there's opportunity during your core instruction time, then yes, please do say so. We're just focusing on addressing what you guys already addressed their levels and needs and what you're focusing on. You're focusing on RF 2.3. And then you guys are already speaking among yourselves and how you're going to keep fidelity among each other and making sure that, these are all our students and not just your class, they become all of our students. So I see that you guys have some quick notes, and we'll take a pause there and continue our presentation, and I'll give you more time at the end to collaborate further on this. So, if you need help and support in managing small groups, this ebook is really great. I've provided a link and I'll send this out to you guys. The chapters, I just listed the chapters to see what you would like to work on. Do you need to work on organizing the environment? Do you need support in establishing procedures for small group rotations? Would you like more support in implementing effective instruction or monitoring and sustained change? And then, along with your Tier 2 resources that you have been provided with your core curriculum, I found these great resources online that really have set up a page-by-page progression of where a student is, starting from K through going to 1 and going to 2. And if they're at level 2, but they're reading at K, they have really set up these great materials. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel and go search for more articles. This is really here for you guys they're live links. So you have alphabet resources for students who are still forming letters and sounding out letters. There's decodable books and lessons that are progress, short vowel, long vowel, moving on with phonics through the program. And then there's a program just for high frequency words. And then there's 30 lessons with this one that increases in rigor with phonological awareness. And I believe I have more resources coming up later in the slide. This website offers scripted lessons in progression as listed. So they start with words, syllables, rhyme, phoneme isolation, phoneme blending, phoneme segmenting, and there's a link for that. With this material, anyone can implement this professional development and not just have it sit to the side. A lot of times we go into professional developments and they give us all this information, but nothing. I know this wasn't materialistic, but there's live links that we can follow through and take this home with us to our classrooms. This is the other, goes with the same program, the one prior. This is a phonics instructional routine resource. And again, it really gives you scripted lessons and it progresses through this. Everything is made for you. There is no reinventing the wheel. So students are working on letters on correspondence. There's lessons to go with that. They're progressive blending sounds and short words, segmenting, and then writing simple words, decoding in content and connected text, then decoding and writing words, and then it progresses to writing words with blends, silent E, and then more than one syllable.
That's kind of nice, actually, because it gives you the opportunity that you do have some kids that are at that part, but you also have ones at the bottom, so you can challenge these and still help those make the progression. So,
and I agree. I like how it gives the last 5 kind of go with decoding words in the text, and then just slowly releasing that much needed instruction until they're finally independently reading and more than one syllable words.
I think I'm gonna look that up because I think I could use some of those resources for my current,
And I really like the decodable passages. They provide some great decodable passages, but I know for a lot of our students are more than 2 years behind, and you guys are second grade teachers. And they have great resources. It's so easy to print. You can click on this link, find what you want, boom, bang, done. And it's great to have resources so we are not taking more time out of our busy days to search what we can do for these kiddos. So that's going to be the end of my presentation. If you want more collaboration time, feel free to stay and hang out. But I do ask that if you take a moment to give your feedback at this link when you go back to your classrooms with your laptop. The reason I provided this PD on intervention, or reading intervention, is because I took a survey with the school site, and it seems to be that upper grade really wants strategies for comprehension, but it seems like a lot of upper grades students are still struggling to read. So I felt like we couldn't jump to comprehension if we haven't addressed the needs of these students who are still not reading. So although this PD is aimed for our lower grade needs, this could still be utilized in upper grade. And I'm hoping if you will leave your feedback, one of the questions is, would you like to continue this PD on reading interventions, or would you like to progress to comprehension interventions? If you have any further questions, you can leave a sticky on the parking lot at the back wall. Otherwise, that is all for me. And I'll take questions in a minute. Thank you.